Okay, so are you ready for this? We are diving deep, deep into all things Donald Trump today. You guys, you send in so much material, and let me tell you, getting through all of it was it was quite the experience.
Oh, yeah, you weren't kidding.
So, Donald Trump, where do we even begin? Real estate, reality TV, leader of the free world.
Yeah, seriously, from Trump Towers to the Oval Office, right?
This guy, he has done it all, and along the way, like totally reshaped the political scene. I mean, love him or hate him, he's definitely made an impact. And we're going to take a look at all of it. The wild communication style, the policies that everyone's still arguing about, and of course, all that drama.
Right. And speaking of communication style, I mean, how could we not start there? Those rallies, the tweets, nobody does it quite like him.
Seriously, it's like, politicians usually try to sound all polished, right? Super careful about what they say, but Trump just threw that all out the window.
Exactly. And it really was something else. Like, on the one hand, it was kind of refreshing. Like, finally someone's just saying what they think, you know? But then on the other hand, it was kind of terrifying, to be honest.
Totally. Like sometimes it felt like, whoa, maybe think before you tweet, man. But that's kind of what made it so effective, right? It's like he tapped into this huge group of people who felt like nobody in Washington was listening to them.
Yeah, he kind of like bypassed the whole traditional media game. He was speaking directly to his supporters and they loved it. They felt like he was one of them, like he understood their frustrations. And that created this bond that was really hard to break.
Absolutely. Okay, but let's dive into some of those policies that really got people talking. We know he had this bold agenda, really leaning conservative, with things like the crackdown on immigration, the big tax cuts, that sort of thing.
Right, and those were some of the really defining aspects of his presidency, I think. I mean, take the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, for example. It was huge.
Oh, yeah, massive tax cuts, mostly benefiting corporations and people with a lot of money.
Exactly. Now, his supporters, they'll argue that it really jump-started the economy.
Yeah, he definitely loved to talk about how the economy was booming under his watch.
Yeah, and there is some evidence to back that up. Like before the pandemic hit, unemployment was really low.
That's true. But of course, his critics, they saw it very differently.
Oh, absolutely. They argued that those tax cuts just made the rich richer and didn't really help the middle class or the poor, and in fact, maybe even hurt them.
Right, right. And then you had that whole other side of the agenda, those more socially conservative policies, the immigration restrictions, the border wall, the travel bans, that kind of stuff. All super controversial.
Definitely. It felt like every single thing he did sparked this huge debate, this huge division in the country. And it's interesting to think about which of those policies are going to have the most lasting effects, not just on the country, but on the whole political landscape. Like, did he change things forever, or was it just a moment in time? I mean, what do you think?
It's really hard to say. I mean, we can't talk about Trump without talking about the drama, right? This guy was always in the headlines, whether it's for the impeachment trials, the Twitter wars, the legal battles. It was like a reality show happening in real time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was nonstop. Every day it seemed like there was some new scandal, some new controversy. It was, uh, I don't know how to describe it. It was exhausting, to be honest.
I bet. It was definitely like unlike anything we'd ever seen before in a president. So I'm curious, like, do you think he thrived on that chaos? Was it intentional?
That's a good question. I mean, it's hard to know what was going on in his head, but yeah, I think part of him did enjoy it. Like he was always the center of attention, always in the news. And I think that helped him in a way. Like it kept him relevant. It kept people talking about him, whether they loved him or hated him.
For sure. So, okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We've talked about his style, the policies, the drama. But what about his legacy? Is Trumpism here to stay? I mean, especially considering he might try to run again in 2024.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? It's hard to deny that he's had a huge impact on politics and on the country as whole. He really tapped into something, and I don't think that's just going to disappear overnight.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to think about how it's all going to play out. Like, where does the Republican Party goes from here? What happens to all those people who felt like he was finally speaking for them? It's like he threw this giant rock in the pond, and we're still watching the ripples spread out.
That's a great analogy.
So, well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Donald Trump. He's definitely a figure who, evokes strong reactions, and we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more we could talk about.
Oh, absolutely. But hopefully this has given you some food for thought. And as you continue to learn about him, I think that the big question to ask yourself is this. Beyond the tweets, beyond the policies, beyond the drama, What will be Donald Trump's lasting impact? What will be his legacy?
Yeah, that's what we're all waiting to see.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.